And good afternoon. This is Marcus Hanscom from Graduate Admissions here at the University of New Haven. Thanks so much for joining us tonight to learn a little bit more about the graduate school and what we have to offer here for you. And if you could just let me know that you can hear me all right. If you look on the right side of your screen, there's a questions box. Just enter in the questions. Just say hi or something just to let me know you can hear me all right. And we should be able to get started. Okay, great. Looks like you guys can hear me, which is fantastic. So as we go along, if you have any questions, feel free to enter them in the box there. I'll be happy to answer them as we go along, and hopefully get some good information for you about the graduate school and the programs that we have to offer. Just so you know a little bit about me, again, my name is Marcus. I actually did my undergraduate studies here and my graduate studies at the University of New Haven. I did my MBA here for my graduate work and my undergrad in mass communication. So I've been at the university now between my student years and working here. I've been here about 11 years. So it's a place I love. It's very close to my heart. I'm from the Boston area originally. I know a number of you are from outside of the area, so I can have a little bit of perspective about what it's like to move to the area and live here rather than somebody who's living close by. So I'll talk to you a little bit about that. And also for those of you who are working in the area, I know a number of you are working locally and are looking for a program that suits your interests on a part-time basis. So I'll be happy to talk to you a little bit about those programs as well. So again, as I mentioned, if you have any questions as we go along, feel free to enter them in the box. I'll be happy to answer them as we go. So a little bit about us, if you're not as familiar with the University of New Haven. We're a private institution, so we aren't a state institution, and we are a nonprofit as well. We're located in West Haven, Connecticut, contrary to our name. We actually started in the city of New Haven back in 1920, so that's where our name originated from. We currently have about 1,700 graduate students representing 38 states, so we are very geographically diverse here in the United States, and also representing 44 countries, so very geographically diverse on an international level as well. Of our total population, just over half are full-time students, and about 45% are part-time. So it's a pretty even mix between the students that are pursuing full-time study that are here solely to get a graduate degree versus those of our students that are working full-time in many cases and are looking for a part-time course option while they're here. So I just want to tell you a little bit about what's happening at the university. We're very proud of some of the high accolades we've received recently. We're also investing a lot in infrastructure. We've had some good news around the campus. I'll tell you a little bit about our experiential education opportunities. That's really core to what we do here at the university is experiential education, so I'll tell you a little bit more about that. And we also have a number of new master's programs and certificate offerings for you, so I'll tell you a little bit about those. So for the third consecutive year, we've been listed as one of the top, one of the best colleges in Tier 1 in the Tier 1 North region of U.S. News and World Reports. So it's really recognizing the quality of our education and the quality of our facilities and our faculty and, of course, our students and student outcomes. So we're very proud of that listing for us. We're also recognized in the top 15% in the country as a military-friendly school. So we're very proud of that, of course, in helping our veterans coming back from overseas in pursuing their further education. We are recognized as a yellow ribbon school. We do participate with that program with the VA, so we're very happy to serve those who have served our country so well over the many decades of service of our students. In terms of infrastructure, we've been investing a lot over the past number of years. Just in the past 5 years or so, we've invested in a number of new residence halls. We have a new recreation center that celebrated its 5-year anniversary just this week. We also have our new Henry Lee Institute of Forensic Science. I know a number of you are interested in the Forensic Science program. This is really kind of our hallmark program at the university, and we have the institute in this brand new building that was just built and opened just a couple of years ago, and has some state-of-the-art training facilities. We have a technologically advanced kind of touchscreen-like crime scene investigation laboratory, actually several of them. We also have a wet lab where we're actually processing crime scenes and things. And students are collecting evidence and analyzing them in the state-of-the-art laboratories that we have. We have access to some of the leading databases in the world for forensic investigation, so those are available. We also have a forensic science museum and kind of like a live satellite room where we can do remote processing of crime scenes. So it's really a hallmark piece of our campus. And just a couple of things in the news for us recently. We opened a new campus in Florence, Italy. Unfortunately, not an option for our graduate students at the moment, but we're working on some opportunities in the future that would allow our students to do some study abroad opportunities there in Florence. And recently we had Dr. Eva Sappi. She's one of our cellular molecular biology faculty members. She's regarded as a national expert in Lyme disease research, and she uncovered a potential secret to how they treat Lyme disease, that there's kind of a shell of a liquid that kind of forms around the disease site for Lyme disease patients. And she found a way that if we attack that shell, that's a way to attack the disease rather than attacking the site itself. So there's some very interesting research being done. She did that in collaboration with a number of our graduate students in the program. So our graduate students get a chance to work hard with our faculty on the campus. So really have some great cutting-edge research being done on the campus, and I'll tell you a little bit more about that here. As I mentioned before, what's at our core is experiential education. This is what we do best. This is actually one of the reasons why I came to the university in the first place as a student, and one of the reasons why I still stay here and work here and am committed to the mission of the institution, because of what we do inside and outside the classroom. But we really try to make sure that at the cornerstone of your education is hands-on experiential learning, things that require you to apply the theory that you're learning in the classroom, and you're working with practitioners in the field that are teaching many of your courses, and then oftentimes you're doing some sort of research or an internship or something related to your program, so you're getting hands-on experience that makes you marketable when you graduate. Particularly in the economy that we have right now, we want to make sure that you're able to graduate and be marketable and have that edge in getting that job. So our students are employable because they have tangible skills in the industries that they wish to pursue. So here's just a couple of examples of things that our students are doing in that regard. There's really 4 facets of experiential education. There's the study abroad piece, there's service learning, of course internships, and research. So our students are doing a multitude of different things in all of our programs, and this is just a sampling of some of them. We have a graduate student showcase that we do in the fall and the spring, and we'd invite you all, especially if you're local or if you'd like to come in, we'd love to have you to experience the showcase and meet some of our students and see what they're doing. But we have students in many of our public safety programs pursuing work with federal departments. In this case, this student worked with the FBI. We had one of our students in our MBA and IO psychology program who's pursuing work in human resource management. She was devising tactics for diversity recruitment for a major company in the Hartford area. A number of our students in cellular biology are working to identify treatments for reproductive cancers. That's actually a specialty of one of our faculty. And a number of our engineering students have been working with Stirling engines over in the engineering department, so some great hands-on work there. And we have a solar training facility here also that our students can study in as engineering students. A number of our students in fire science presented as part of the showcase, and this student that you see in the upper right-hand corner presented on the steel breakdown in arson. So in terms of arson investigation, she actually applied forensic science techniques to determine how you can get evidence, how you can take evidence from steel that's been burnt in a fire and look at accelerants and things. So it was very interesting work. Our education students were working on sensory effects of art and music, on how that's improving primary school writing. So it was interesting work they did there. We also had an MBA student look at factors as they relate to competitive advantage, and actually did that internationally in Turkey, and looked at marketing results in shopping malls. And we also had a number of our students, each year our national security program sends a group of students to Russia to study national security issues there. So that's an opportunity you'd have as well if you're pursuing study in national security. Now we have a few new programs on the campus. We're very proud of our newest program, our MS in Emergency Management, particularly with a number of things that have been happening, particularly with national disasters and Hurricane Sandy, of course, affecting the Northeast the way that it did. Our students are now being prepared with a master's degree in emergency management to determine how to accurately come up with emergency response plans for cities and municipalities, the determining evacuation procedures. So there's a number of things that they're able to do there, and that's a program that's integrated closely with our public administration program. Some students are looking into government work, to be working as a government official. Many cities and municipalities are hiring emergency managers. Of course, some of our students will pursue government work with FEMA and other agencies, so that's a really good cutting-edge program. We're also, we've been offering criminal justice education here for just about 60 years. We're one of the oldest in the country. And our MS in Criminal Justice program is now fully online, as well as our traditional on-campus program. So you can study the program on the campus, utilizing our facilities, doing internships, taking advantage of the college experience, or you can be doing the Criminal Justice Master's program fully online. So that's one of our newest programs, and offering that online. And of course, we've offered the Master's on ground here for several decades at this point. We also will be offering, starting in the fall of this year, our MS in Sports Management, starting in the fall, fully online as well. That program's been offered for about 20 years here on the main campus, so that program will still be available as a main campus program, but we also will offer it fully online, so you'll have the option of choosing either one of those. We also have for our education students a new 6th-year certificate program in instructional technologies and digital media literacy. That program, you have to have a master's degree already, so a 6th-year certificate is a credential that goes beyond the master's program. So many certified teachers in the state are pursuing that. You don't have to be a certified teacher. You just have to be employed in some sort of training capacity. So if you're working in HR, for instance, and you're doing training and you have a master's degree, this would be a great program for you to consider because it will talk about using technology and digital media to pursue cutting-edge training techniques. So that's a great program that we're offering starting this summer. And we're also offering a new concentration within our Management of Sports Industries program in collegiate athletic administration because we're having a number of students that want to pursue work in mostly the college environment, being directors of athletics or coaches and things. So this will give you another opportunity to specialize your studies. And many of our programs offer a number of concentrations, and I'll mention a few of those as we go along. Now, we've been offering graduate programs here for nearly 50 years. When we started in 1920, we were founded on that experiential education, so founded on business and engineering and serving working professionals, and we've really grown from that core over the last close to 100 years at this point. And we've been offering graduate programs for about 44 years at this point. And we offer 30 graduate degree programs, but also 25 certificate offerings. So if you didn't want to go right into a degree program, you could take a 4-course certificate and apply that towards a degree if you wanted to start with something small. One of the things that's really unique about us that you won't find at most institutions is that we offer a trimester schedule. And what that means is that all of our programs you can complete on a more condensed, accelerated basis, so that gets you out in the workforce quicker. You get 3 full terms in during a traditional academic year where you might be only getting 2 semesters in most cases for a particular program at another institution. So trimester scheduling is a unique feature of our programs. We also have the majority of our classes offered in the evenings, so if you're working full-time or if you wanted to get a job as a graduate student, if you're moving here, or if you get a graduate assistantship, which I'll talk to you about, that allows you to do those things during the day and then take your classes at night. We have some classes offered on the weekends that allow you an alternative schedule if you wish to pursue that. We pride ourselves on personalized attention, so you will get a lot of personalized attention. We have a 15-to-1 student-faculty ratio, as I'll mention in the next slide. So it's very personalized here. We want to make sure that you're getting as customized of an experience as you can here to make sure that your career path, the career goals that you have, are being met through the program that you select. So you have a program advisor that will be assigned to you. You have somebody that you can work with directly there. You have people that will help you here in admissions and also in the registrar's office with registration and any other service needs that you might have here as a student. But we really want to make sure that you are a name and a face in the classroom, that you're somebody that you can go right up to your faculty member and know that that faculty member or staff member, for that matter, has a vested interest in your success and making sure that your classes and that your experience here are meeting every need that you have as an individual in getting the career that you want. Now, just briefly about our faculty, we have 212 full-time faculty members, so we're a relatively small campus. We're talking about just about 6,000 total students, and 1,700 of which are graduate students. And 78% of those full-time faculty have terminal degrees in their field. So oftentimes PhD is the terminal degree. In some cases, a master's degree or a certification like a CPA would be the quote-unquote terminal degree for or terminal designation for a faculty member. We also have a number of adjunct faculty in most all of our programs. And that's so that you get exposure to folks that are working in the field, that are actually doing and practicing what they preach in the classroom. So they can talk to you about what it's like on the front lines. They can talk to you about what it's like to be doing the books at a major accounting firm, or what it's like to be a forensic scientist in the state crime lab, or what it's like to be an environmental engineer on the front lines of working on Long Island Sound to do environmental remediation. So you have a number of faculty in all of your programs that will give you that real-time experience, and you'll find that the majority of our faculty, even that are that have academic terminal degrees, that are PhD academically qualified, they have real experience in their fields as well. For instance, our forensic science program, there isn't one faculty member on the entire staff that does not have real-world experience, that has not worked in a crime lab or worked in a corporate setting as a chemist or things. So you'll find that nearly all of the faculty on the campus have real experience in their fields. That's really something that separates us. You're going to get that hands-on experience from somebody who's done it, and you're practicing in the classroom in real facilities, and often cases like our crime scene training facilities or our Wall Street trading floor in the business in the College of Business. So you have those, and then you also have internships. So you have multifaceted experiential learning opportunities in all of our programs on the campus. Now, I'll tell you briefly about each of our 4 colleges. I know that a number of the folks on the call are from different programs, so I'll try to highlight the ones that I know that you're here for. But we offer programs, of course, in the sciences, cellular and molecular biology, and environmental science. We also offer human nutrition. That's a weekend program, largely for working professionals. But we do have some students that relocate to the area. They can pursue that both as a part-time or full-time program. We also offer 2 programs in psychology. And I know there's a number of folks on the line for IO psychology. IO psychology is largely geared towards folks that want to work in improving the effectiveness of people and the happiness of people at work. And so oftentimes students pursue work in human resource management. Others will work in organizational development. Some go into private consulting. And our program is very highly regarded across the country. Our students have very high placement in jobs from that program. It's a very rigorous program. Again, all of our faculty in that program have real experience. Many of them are consulting in addition to being academically qualified faculty, full-time faculty on our campus. You actually see in the lower left-hand corner of that photo, that's Dr. Len Wysocki. He teaches organizational change and development. He also teaches emotional IQ, so that's kind of one of the new kind of buzz issues within, or emotional intelligence being something that's a really important initiative for HR folks and IO professionals in the field. So you will hear a little bit about that in the program. We also have a community psychology program, which is more geared towards widespread. So unlike a traditional psychologist where you might be going to work in private practice, which some of our students do pursue PhD work beyond the master's here, and they choose to go into private practice. But the majority of our students for community psychology are looking more holistically as a community issue. How can we address psychological problems that are affecting our communities? And they're coming up, like for instance, we have community program development as one of our concentrations. We also have forensic psychology as one of the concentrations, and I see there's a question about that. We do offer forensic psychology in both our community psychology program and also our criminal justice program. So while forensic psychology, the field is the same for those 2 programs, the core part of your master's will be different. So you have to think about when you're pursuing forensic psychology in our programs that you're either doing the MA in community psychology, where you're doing largely psychology core principle work, or you're doing our MS in criminal justice, which criminal justice is a lot more legislative focus. So you're going to be talking more about law and legal proceedings with that core versus community psychology, where you're talking about psychological principles and statistics and improving community happiness and outreach, and then using that knowledge to inform what you're doing in forensic psychology. And many of our students that become forensic psychologists are working in they're working in the prison systems. Sometimes they're working for municipalities. Some are working for private agencies and nonprofits. Some are working for like halfway homes and things, helping criminals rehabilitate to society. Oftentimes they're working in prisons to talk to prisoners that are coming back into society at some point and helping rehabilitate them. Sometimes they're working in terms of figuring out why crimes are happening and doing kind of crime pattern mapping and things. So there's a number of things that you can do with forensic psychology, but you just have to think about which way you're going to pursue that program. Now, in addition to the programs I mentioned, we also offer a very competitive education program that provides teacher certification in the state of Connecticut. It's actually a free program, so if you're interested in pursuing teaching, the core part of your program, 36 credits of your master's program in education, are paid for through an internship that you complete while you're in the program. The only thing that you would pay for are your certification credits at the very end of the program, so the master's program itself is free for you if you're pursuing education. We also offer professional education for students who are already certified in the state, and of course that 6th-year program, as I mentioned before. Now, our College of Business, I know there's a few folks on the line for College of Business. We have a number of programs in our MBA. We have a traditional MBA program that's largely offered in the evenings that we offer both here in West Haven, but also at our satellite campus in New London, Connecticut. And that would be largely for working professionals up in the New London area, so if you wish to pursue that, you certainly could do that. We also offer an executive MBA for upper-level managers. They're expected to have significant management experience that are aspiring for the C-suite, so to be CFOs or CEOs of their companies. And we offer that currently at our Chapel Street location in New Haven, so downtown New Haven, in our executive center. We also offer an MBA MPA dual degree, so public administration we have as on its own, so you can take the public administration program that students are interested in working in municipalities and government work, and oftentimes want to become mayors or first selectmen or working in emergency management positions as we discussed. But you could do a dual degree as well with our MBA, so it gives you both the public administration side where you're talking about unions and negotiation and all of that and public affairs and public policy, but you're also looking at things like accounting and finance and marketing within the MBA side. We also offer sports management. As I mentioned, we have the online program as well as our on-ground program. We were actually ranked one of the tops in the world, top sport management programs in the world. So we're very excited for that. And so it's very highly competitive with great internship opportunities. Of course, our location helps greatly with that. We also offer healthcare administration. I know there's a couple of students on the line for healthcare administration. This is certainly one of the top industries now for jobs, so certainly one of the most employable industries coming in. So that's a great program to pursue. And we have a number of concentrations available for that program. We do offer long-term care, and we're actually the only provider in the state that is certified to offer long-term care that prepares you for certification within the state of Connecticut. So we're actually an educational provider and partner with the state to offer you that. So if you're interested in long-term care, we certainly have that for you. We also offer labor relations, which is more negotiation and union work, again, HR-oriented but very specific. And we also offer a taxation program, which is for accounting professionals. It does serve as a nice complement if you have an undergraduate degree in accounting, and if you want to become a CPA, you could use the taxation courses to prepare you to sit for that exam. So some of our students will do that. And that's actually offered as a cohort where you're in the same group of students throughout the entire program, and you actually will have a break around tax time because many of the folks in the program are tax professionals. We also have our Tagliatelle College of Engineering. This was, again, one of our first colleges that we had on the campus dating all the way back to 1920. We have a number of programs in electrical and environmental engineering. Our engineering and operations management program is kind of the newest program. It's only a couple of years old that was kind of migrated from our executive engineering management program that we used to offer. And that's designed for folks that want to have that are going to be working in a manufacturing capacity in particular or in any engineering field that need management experience, that need to be able to effectively manage in a manufacturing setting in most cases. So many of our students coming in are working in a manufacturing setting. We have a number of companies that operate close to the campus, and those students will come in and they aspire to be managers of those very facilities that they're working in now. And within that program, we actually offer a number of courses in Lean Six Sigma. So you're going to be talking about manufacturing process and process improvement, and you can get a graduate certificate in that as part of that program. We also offer industrial engineering and a dual degree with our MBA. So our MBA MSIE program is similar in nature to our engineering and operations management. However, you're getting a core MBA program in addition to a core industrial engineering program. You're getting a number of credits, approximately 70 credits in the two programs. So it is extended amount of time and more credits that you'd be doing, but you have both degrees and would open up your career options in both directions. If you want to be in industrial engineering, or if you want to go into a generic business capacity, you'd have the background for that. Of course, that's ultimately setting up managers to work in engineering capacities. And we have a number of students that have been very successful pursuing that degree and getting successful management positions once they graduate. We also offer a program in mechanical engineering. I mentioned the Stirling engines earlier. A number of our students were doing that. And we also offer computer science and network systems. So for our students who wish to pursue work where they're working in either computer engineering type work or they're working in database management and software engineering, we offer a number of programs to suit those interests. And finally, we have our Henry C. Lee College of Criminal Justice and Forensic Sciences. This is perhaps our namesake school. So for those of you outside of the region, you may have heard of us through the Lee College and Dr. Henry Lee. He's regarded as the leading forensic investigator pretty much on the planet. And he was the leading prosecutor in the O.J. Simpson trial. He was involved with the John Benet Ramsey case and Scott Peterson trial. So some very high-profile cases that he was involved in, and he started our forensic science program in 1979, so one of the oldest programs of forensic science in the country. And I mentioned criminal justice earlier. Our criminal justice program was started in the 1950s, so we're one of the oldest in criminal justice as well. And we have our new PhD program that we just began offering a couple of years ago, and we've had a substantial amount of interest in that program with some great assistantship opportunities if you wish to pursue research and do it in a financially viable way. We have, of course, our new emergency management program that I mentioned. We also are one of the few programs in the country that offer a master's degree in fire science. We have both a bachelor's and master's program. We also have state-of-the-art burn labs on our campus. So if you're pursuing fire science, or if you're in the forensic science program pursuing fire science as the concentration, you'll get an opportunity to work in those facilities. We have several mobile units, mobile rooms that we bring out and we burn them. We do real simulated burns on them. And we then have our students pursue, they'll do arson investigation on each of those rooms and determine accelerants and types of chemicals that may have been used and the causes of the fire. So again, speaking to that experiential education, that's what we do at our core. We want to make sure that you're getting hands-on experience in a real facility practicing the theory that you're learning about fire science, for instance, in these burn labs. I also mentioned forensic science. We have a couple of different master's programs in the forensic science field, one of which is criminalistics, which is a lab-oriented degree, which we're in the process of getting full accreditation from FEPAC, which is part of the American Association of Forensic Science. That accreditation we're expecting by the end of this week. They actually have their annual AFES conference in Washington, D.C. this week, and our faculty are there. And if you're pursuing forensic science and you happen to be at the conference, be sure to say hello to our faculty that are there. We also were the first in the country to implement a national security program. It actually came in just after 9/11. Ironically, we had put the paperwork in shortly before 9/11 happened, and we became kind of the pioneer of national security education here in the country. Now, we offer a number of our programs in cohort fashion, so if you're a local working professional, this is a great opportunity for you, that you're working with that same group of students with a set schedule through the entire time you're here. And some of our cohorts include in their cost books and meals, so that's an added benefit depending on the program that you're pursuing. So if you're a local working professional and you're interested in any of these programs, we do have our engineering and operations management, the IO psychology we talked about, also labor relations, and our taxation program that I mentioned before. So those are an option for you if you'd like. Now, our main campus, as I mentioned, we're located in West Haven, Connecticut. We're on a hill overlooking the city of New Haven. So we're not right in the middle of the city, but we have the benefits of being close by to a city, and we're only 5 minutes from the beach, and we're only about 20 minutes from the great hiking and state parks and things. So we have a little bit of everything close to the main campus here. We also offer all of our cohort programs as well as our MBA program at our New London campus, up at our southeastern campus in New London. That's actually based on the campus of Mitchell College, right up there close to the Rhode Island border, so it's a good, convenient place if you're working in that area in Groton or Mystic, and even southern Rhode Island. Some of our students will commute and work in the area and take classes at our southeastern location. We also offer education in Meriden, so if you're interested in pursuing education, that's an option there. We also have our EMBA in New Haven, and we have some limited offerings in Shelton and West Haven. West Haven, actually, the Sawmill campus is where our education program classes are offered. And we also offer currently our MBA and a couple other cohort offerings, including IO Psychology. So just a few options for you to consider. Now, again, if you have any questions, feel free to enter them in the questions box as we go along. If you've had any questions so far, let me know. Now, just a little bit about applying. If you're interested in applying, if you like what you hear and you want to apply for one of the graduate programs, we do have a rolling application deadline for most of our programs. The exceptions are education and forensic science. Now, if you're interested in forensic science for the fall, our application deadline is March 15th. And that means your completed application has to be on file here by March 15th. And for this year, that's coming up rather fast, less than a month away. So if you're interested in applying for the fall, we do have some seats still available, so you can still apply. And for our education program, it's generally May 1st for the, it's going to be June this year, June 1st this year for education. And you could also apply for our January term for education and start, and your application will be due by middle of October. So otherwise, you're pretty much rolling for all of our programs. You can apply online at our website. It's currently available with no application fee. So that's always a nice benefit. It saves you $75 off the paper application fee. And in addition to your application, we require 2 letters of recommendation. That's for all of our programs. We also require all of your official college transcripts. So regardless of which college you went to and however many courses you took at a particular college, we need you to send your official college transcripts to us from all colleges you attended. Some of our programs require a resume. Safe rule of thumb is if you're applying for a business program, we want you to send a resume. Same is true for our education and national security. Now, if you've had any sort of work experience or internship experience, I would highly encourage you to send a resume, even if it's not required for your program. So certainly consider that. Now, test scores are required for some of our programs, but not all of them. Our forensic science criminalistics program only, so criminalistics concentration only, requires that you submit GRE scores. We also require GRE scores for the cellular and molecular biology program, and we require the GMAT or the GRE for our business MBA program, our taxation program, and our sports management program. So those are our primary requirements. We also require the praxis of our education students. Other than that, most of our programs they'll certainly accept test scores if you wish to send them along, and they will be considered in the application process, but they aren't required, and they won't necessarily detract from your application if you choose not to send it. We also have an optional personal statement that you will see on the application. Keep in mind that if you are applying for education or national security, that personal statement is required, so just keep that in mind as you're applying. Now, anything that you're mailing to us, our letters of recommendation, you can actually submit those online. You'll see on the application that you can put the names and email addresses of your recommenders on the end of the application, and the system will send them an automated email with private login instructions for them that they can log in and complete a recommendation for you with the form and provide a letter for you securely in our system. So if you have if you have those submitted, if you put those in online, you don't have to worry about going and chasing down your recommenders to get your letters to you. So this is definitely helpful for you if you can do that electronically. Anything that you're sending in the mail, and that could be, now you can upload a resume or personal statement to the application. You can also email that to us if you'd like. But if you wanted to mail any of those documents or mail your transcripts or, of course, your test scores, anything else that you have that you want to mail to us, make sure you send them to the address on the screen. You need to send everything attention graduate admissions. If you just put admissions, it generally goes to our undergraduate office, and it will delay your application file. So definitely send them anything that you send in the mail to graduate admissions. It's very important. Now, with the exception of some of our programs that admit by committee, and this includes our forensic science and education programs, most all of our programs will deliver a decision to you within 2 weeks of receiving your completed application, including all the materials that we discussed. So we are pretty quick at getting a decision back to you, and you can follow your application status on your VIP page. You should have received credentials if you're already in our system on how to get into that, and you can view your status as you go along. Now I see there's a couple of questions here, so I'm going to pause just for a second. The first question is, can I have a dual degree in community psychology and IO psychology? Well, you can. We don't call it a dual degree program. You can take both degrees for sure. And with the discretion of the advisor, you may be able to kind of be waived from additional credits in the second program. So if you were to say take IO psychology and you took your full 48 credits there for that program, and then the advisor from community psychology says, well, I can waive 2 of your courses for the community psychology because you already took them, then they may be able to work that out for you. But there's no formal dual degree process for those 2 programs. And we do have, regardless of the program, we do have a 30 credit residency requirement. So, for instance, in our MBA program, we have a 48 credit requirement, but the first 18 credits of the program can be waived based on undergraduate coursework. So you could complete the MBA in as short as 30 credits or 1 year in full-time study if you wanted to do that. But just so you keep in mind that in this particular instance, the IO psychology program is 48 credits. The community psychology program is 45 credits. So you're talking about 93 credits in total there. With the exception of some courses that could be waived, it's a substantial commitment of time and money for you to do both degrees. So just something to keep in mind. Forensic science is not offered at the New London campus, unfortunately, and forensic science is only offered on the main campus. If you have below a 3.0 for forensic science, you can still apply. Unfortunately, you will not be within the admittable range for our criminalistics program, the lab program. That program only takes 12 to 14 students a year, so it's very selective. For the advanced investigation and fire science tracks, we accept between 30 and 40 students a year, so it's a little bit more open. And depending on your grade point average, if it's close to a 3.0 and then you take the GRE, for instance, and you do well, then you might be admittable to the program. I certainly encourage you to apply, and then it depends on the pool of applicants that we have if you might be able to be admitted and selected for one of those few seats in both programs for that matter. But definitely still apply, and if you're so inclined, I'd encourage you to consider taking the GRE to try to give an additional credential for consideration in the application process. Now, another question in regards to the letter of recommendation. Does my advisor have to send the recommendation herself, or can she give it to me and seal it and sign the back? You can actually do either one. If you have your letters of recommendation done electronically, then they just fill them out online. They go right into our system, and that's fine. If they choose to do a physical letter, it should appear on some sort of letterhead. So if it's a faculty member at your school, then great, put it on your university's letterhead, and have them hand sign the letter and seal it in an envelope. And then you can send that to us. You can mail it to us, or you can hand deliver it to us. As long as it's in a sealed envelope and hand signed by the recommender, we can certainly take it that way as well. So either one, whatever works for you, is certainly acceptable to us. And the other option, if you needed to, is that if your recommender needed to send a letter of recommendation electronically for you and wasn't added to your application, you could have them email it directly to one of our staff. That includes me if you'd like. It just has to be emailed directly from the recommender. It can't be sent to you and then you forward it on. We need to have the original recommendation from the recommender themselves. So now, everybody's favorite topic, and I want to make sure that we covered it, so I included tuition and fees here today because it's very important for you so that you know what kinds of, because it's, of course, an investment in your future, and of course you have to think about that financial commitment that you'll be making to the university if you choose to attend here. The tuition currently is $7.75 per credit hour, and then the only fees that we assess are $45 per term. So in 3 terms, you're talking about $135 for the entire year, and that includes a technology fee of $25 and a graduate student council fee of $20. And other than that, we don't have any hidden fees. Oftentimes schools will have a comprehensive fee that might be several $1,000s, or fees that aren't you're not told about and then they appear on your bill later, these are the fees that you're going to have. So you know right up front these are the fees to expect. Now, if you're going to be starting in fall of 13, so this coming fall, we anticipate that we'll probably see about a 3% increase in the per credit hour tuition. So you can anticipate approximately just under $800 per credit hour for your studies. Now, with that said, we have a number of financial aid options available for you. First and foremost, for those of you that are familiar with undergraduate financial aid, you have grants and you have work study and you have all this plethora of various dollar amounts available to you. Those are not as widely available for graduate students, and that's true of virtually any college that you talk to. So one of the common ways that students finance their education are through Stafford loans. If you're familiar with Stafford loans and you're undergraduate, that's certainly it's very similar. However, you don't have to worry about your parents' financial aid or financial circumstances, so you don't have to put your parents on the FAFSA when you complete that. And every graduate student, this is based purely on the fact that you're a graduate student, not based on need. So for the most part, virtually all of our graduate students get $20,500 per year as an option for taking as a Stafford loan. So you don't have to take that, but it's an option that you'll have. You must be a U.S. citizen or an eligible non-citizen to be considered for the Stafford loan. Now we also have, and this is really what is a great benefit for graduate students, is the graduate work program or graduate assistantships, as you may have heard either through us or through other schools. These provide half of your tuition as a waiver, and then you also get an hourly stipend for work on campus. And these are in 3 different capacities. There are some that are as teaching assistants, so you'd be working as a TA alongside a full-time faculty member in the classroom, maybe working in a lab, for instance, and helping undergraduate students. We also offer research assistantships where you're doing research in your program, maybe working alongside a faculty member and doing research. And we also have a number of administrative awards. And the administrative awards would involve you working in an office on campus. So we have a couple of students, that work in our graduate admissions office, for instance. Some work in marketing, some work in alumni and development, some work in the various colleges and the dean's offices. So you have opportunities to work on campus, sometimes maybe related to your major, but it's skills that you're gaining nonetheless. And this automatically waives half of your tuition right off the top if you participate in one of these programs. So if your tuition in a year is approximately, say, $21,000, if you're doing an assistantship, that price is cut in half. So now you're paying about $10,000 or close to $11,000 in your tuition costs for the year as opposed to $21,000. So it's a great benefit. And then you're also getting an hourly stipend for working up to 20 hours per week. I believe it's 200 hours per trimester. And it's about minimum wage, but it's a nice couple extra $100 a week if you're going to be working in one of these capacities on campus. So that's some great extra money. And then if you have to pursue any other additional financing options, some of our students will look into the PLUS loan or private loans. But in many cases, especially if you're going to be a full-time student, you do have to be a full-time student to be eligible for the graduate work program. But if you pursue that, many of our students will take the Stafford loan and participate in the assistantship program. And if they take the Stafford loan, the remaining $10,000 or so in your loan can be used for other expenses related to being in college. So if you're relocating, that could help you pay for your rent or pay for your car payments and pay for food and all those kinds of other things that you would need while you're a student here. So that's a really affordable way to attend your graduate studies here at the university. Now I'm going to pause just for a moment. I see there's several questions here. Tuition changes only annually, so you won't have a tuition change in the middle of an academic year. So it will be set this end of the spring for the fall term, and that will cover the academic year, the 13-14 academic year, which would cover the September term, the January, the April term, and our summer term of 14 would be under the new tuition cost. And then if there was any change in tuition, you might see a 3% increase approximately for the following year. So that wouldn't start until September of 14. So likely you'd only see tuition change once while you're here if you're a full-time student, and then depending on how long you take with your part-time studies, you may see it change a couple of times while you're here. Will your application progress be hindered if you've been convicted of a crime and is now sealed? It depends on the program, to be perfectly honest with you. If you're pursuing criminal justice, for instance, then that could present certainly some hurdles for you, because we want to make sure that you're going to be employed when you graduate. So if we know that, we're not going to tell you, oh, you've had a crime in your history and we're just going to take your money for an entire graduate degree, and then, oh, by the way, you can't be employed because of that. We don't do that. We would tell you up front if you're not going to be employable, and the advisors will be very clear about that. So your criminal history will be considered, certainly, and they will let you know if that's something that will impact. That's the largest reason why we would consider any kind of criminal history, and you will be asked that on your application, but that will be very helpful in determining if you're going to be future employed or not. So we want to make sure that you're successful, of course. That's our number one priority for you coming and pursuing graduate studies here. And, of course, your safety in the classroom is paramount for all of our students, and we have a very active campus police force, and we're among we have one of the safest campuses in Connecticut, so we have a lot of things in place for those related type instances as well. But your criminal history is important. You'll see that it's asked for on the application. My strongest advice is not to lie about it. You need to be honest about your criminal history, and then we'll certainly give you the best advice we can in terms of your employability once you graduate. Now, there is a question about tuition discounts for military or veterans. We, as I mentioned before, we do offer, we are a yellow ribbon school. So what that essentially means is that the VA, or we essentially waive our tuition down to the highest equivalent tuition in the state. So if you're participating in the GI Bill and you're eligible for that, basically our tuition goes down to the highest, which I believe is UConn right now. And then what the university does is we basically split the difference with the VA. So you essentially don't have any out-of-pocket costs at all if you're taking advantage of the Yellow Ribbon program through the GI Bill. There's a number of other options to the GI Bill, certainly, that will help you as well. We also offer discounts for people that work in public fire and police departments throughout the state. There's a number of discounts available. I believe it's a 50% discount for any student working in a fire or police capacity. You have to be a sworn officer or a sworn a fireman or a firewoman in the state of Connecticut. And as long as you're sworn, you actually qualify for a half tuition discount if you're pursuing a program within the Lee College, so forensic science, criminal justice, national security, emergency management, or fire science. So we do have some discounts available for public officials also. So definitely inquire about that if you're working in a public capacity here in the state. Now, if you're interested in applying for financial aid here, and this includes the graduate work program, includes the Stafford loan, of course, any other federal loans like the PLUS loan, you have to complete the FAFSA. It's the free application for federal student aid, and you see that website on your screen there. It's FAFSA.gov, and there is a priority deadline. You'll see that on our website. You see that here of March 1st. However, don't let that scare you. If you're applying for Fall 13 and you haven't done your financial aid yet, don't panic. We will take financial aid or FAFSA applications right up until the start of classes, and even until the first week if we have to. So the Stafford loans don't run out because they're loans. It's not like there's a pot of money and then we just disappear after a certain amount of time. So you do have the option of the Stafford loan right up until the start of classes, and if we have to, we can proactively add that to your account. We just let the bursar know that you're going to be getting some form of aid. So that priority deadline only means that if you get things done really quickly and you get in by March 1st, we'll just process your paperwork that much more quickly. But it really doesn't hurt you at all if you decide to apply for financial aid later in the summer or even at the start of classes. I see there's a question about if you're a returning student, do you qualify for a discount? You do. If you're a UNH alum and you had a 3.5 or higher, you actually get a $400 credit per course, so you get $400 off per course. Or if you had below a 3.5, you get $300 off per course for your entire studies here. So that's not per credit, it is per course, but it is a discount that we offer to students who have already been, who have gotten their bachelor's degree here at the university. and wish to pursue a graduate degree. So it's a pretty nice additional benefit for coming back. Now, just a little bit about student life on the campus. We have a number of campus clubs and organizations. And I see there's a question just to follow up on if you're a returning student. That grade point average requirement for your tuition discount as an alum is based on your final cumulative GPA from your undergraduate studies here at the university. So just something to keep in mind. Now, for student life, again, I mentioned there's a lot of campus organizations here, particularly if you're coming from out of state. There's a lot of great activities on the campus, particularly with our Graduate Student Council. They do a number of trips to local areas. They go to New York City. They'll go to Boston. They do ski trips. They go to Canada on ski trips. So it's a great way to see different parts of the area and parts of the region, do some fun things, and, of course, meet other people. It's a very large student organization, so they have a lot of great opportunities for you to network and meet other people. They also offer a graduate banquet that they do before each graduation. So you can celebrate your accomplishments. We also have a number of clubs and organizations that are focused on subject areas, and many of them are affiliated with national organizations. So, for instance, we have a student chapter of SHRM, which is the Society for Human Resource Management. A number of our IO psychology students and our MBA students will be participating in that, and they go to the national conference, and they bring in speakers, and they do a lot of great things there. Our Forensic Science Club, a number of our students from both our undergraduate and graduate program that are affiliated with the club are actually at the APES conference this week, the American Association for Forensic Science, down in D.C. And so you'll get a lot of professional opportunities to network for forensic science through that. And a number of our other organizations, we have a Sports Management Club. They've gone down to do tours of major stadiums, and they've helped out with sporting events with the New York Giants and the Jets. They've done that. We also have an International Student Association. We have a club, a Lyme disease club that's affiliated with the Cellular Molecular Biology program. So a lot of different options for you to kind of continue your student life, particularly if you're used to being a full-time student and you want to have those student activities and things on campus. We also have the trips and activities that we plan through these clubs and organizations and through the programs. And we also have Division II athletics here. We're part of the Northeast 10 Conference, which is regarded as one of the most competitive athletic conferences in Division II in the country. And we actually are very proud. Our football team has been tops of the Northeast 10 Conference for the last 3 years and has made the national tournament several times. And this year, Pete Rossimondo, our head football coach, was named Coach of the Year. So we're really excited for our football program, and our basketball programs right now are doing very well. We've had a nationally ranked women's volleyball team for a number of years. And so it's a very active campus life, and you can take advantage of all these things while you're here. For recreation, we have our new recreation center. Again, just celebrated our 5-year anniversary with this. Actually, the gym membership is included in your tuition, so you don't have to pay an additional student membership fee to be a part of the gym. So that's a nice option for you as a student here, and you can take advantage of that at any time. They're open 7 days a week. They have extended hours late into the evenings and early mornings. We have a full-size, elevated walking and jogging track at the top. You'll see there's 2 basketball courts and a multi-activity court. That's that blue court you see. And we have a number of fitness rooms. We have the treadmill rooms there in the free weights facility. And we offer a number of classes, too, things in yoga and Zumba and all of the latest. And we have spin classes and those types of things. So those are all included as part of your tuition, which is a nice additional benefit for you. Now, if you're transferring to the local, or if you're going to be moving to the local area from somewhere else outside of the community, I see there's students here from Indiana and Ohio, for instance, on the call. There are 6 colleges and universities in the New Haven area, so it's a very big college town. There's tens of thousands of students here. We're world-renowned food. If you turn on the Food Network or Travel Channel and see any of the pizza or burger shows, we're usually tops on each of those shows. We're actually home of the original hamburger here. We have some of the best pizza. We're known worldwide for our pizza on Wooster Street, Pepe's and Sally's Pizza, so you'll have to certainly try them while you're here. Of course, arguably there's some other great pizza in Bar and Abate's and Modern and all those, so any locals on the line will appreciate that debate. We also have some great nightlife down there, some concert venues. We have some clubs and certainly great restaurants. A thriving art scene here, especially around around Yale University and a number of museums and things. We're close to the beach, so you can see it in a little bit of the water in that corner picture on the right. We're very convenient to some major cities. We're only 2.5 hours from Boston and about an hour and 40 minutes from New York City. We're actually the northernmost point on the Metro North rail line into New York City. So you can get there very inexpensive. Round trip, I think it's about $28 now, going down into the city and go right into Manhattan. Our students will spend a lot of time down there. So you can kind of really experience the area very easily around here. We're also accessible by a number of major airports and have a regional airport here in New Haven. So it's very convenient for students, and we're on Amtrak here as well. You can get up and down the eastern seaboard pretty easily. Now, and I'll show you, this is on Pinterest. If you check us out, we're on a number of social media sites. I mentioned food. If you like food, coming to New Haven is a really good idea. There's a lot of great things here. You see lobster rolls there. We have some fantastic seafood right here on the shoreline. We have a great Irish pub that our graduate students love that's right down the street, down at Duffy's Tavern. We have some great bakeries here. We also have a fantastic breakfast place called Chips. I see we have somebody from Orange on here, so they can certainly know what I'm talking about with Chips. Some great ethnic restaurants. We have Turkish close by to the campus. We have a great Cuban restaurant downtown. There's a lot of great ethnic food here, Thai and Chinese. The original hamburger you see in the lower right-hand side, and some of our pizza offerings there, and of course some great ice cream. So a lot of great things here if you like food. Definitely check us out on Pinterest so you can see more about that and some of the other experience things about the campus and what you can do in the area. And of course we're on Facebook and Twitter as well. So I encourage you to take advantage of your personalized VIP page and can connect with us as much as you can throughout the process. Ask questions, talk to us on social media, connect with us on LinkedIn. You can find out what a lot of our alumni are doing and connect with them, find out what job postings are available, and find out what they're doing with their degrees. So that's a great way to talk and find out what kind of outcomes you can expect from your program. And of course, look at your VIP page to check your application status, as I mentioned before, and you can find out what's going on here in RSVP for events there. So if you have questions, this is our entire staff on the graduate admission staff. And you see my contact information there is the second bullet down. These are our direct phone lines. We're not sending you off to a special phone to get forwarded to us. These are our direct lines. Now, if you're interested in any of the programs in College of Arts and Sciences, your counselor is Linda Kessler. You see she's the third bullet there, so you can take down her information if you'd like. And those programs include education and psychology and our science programs. Now, anybody interested in the public safety areas of national security, forensic science, CJ, fire science, emergency management, your counselor is Layla Phillips, and her contact information is there in the fourth bullet. And then if you're interested in anything in business or engineering, you can contact Mike Wennick. He's your counselor for business and engineering students, and you have his contact information there at the final bullet. So I'll be happy to answer any questions that you have right now. I went exactly an hour here. I really appreciate you taking the time out of your day to learn a little bit more about us, and I hope this information was helpful. And I'll answer the questions that you have, and if you have any further, feel free to ask them in the questions box there, and I'll ask them as we go, and I'll stay on as long as you need me to. So the first question I see here, how many years will it take to obtain a master's in CJ with a concentration in, I'm assuming forensic psychology, because forensic science is not a concentration within CJ. So if you were going to do that program, if you're going full-time, that program will take you 4 trimesters. So full-time is 3 courses at a time. Part-time would obviously be 1 or 2 at a time. Some of our students will take 4 occasionally, but you need permission from your advisor, and you don't necessarily need to do that. 3 courses is a pretty heavy course load for a full-time graduate student. If you're doing it full-time, it would be 4 trimesters. So, for instance, if you were to start in September of this year in the criminal justice program and go full-time, you would actually complete by December of the following year. So December of 2014, so that would be a year and 4 months or so, September, October, yeah, so 4 months. So you're talking about a 16-month commitment, so less than a year and a half to complete the entire master's degree in criminal justice. So many of our programs can be completed in about a year and a half on a full-time basis and about 2.5 years on a part-time basis, depending on how many classes you take at a time. And just an important note that if you want to consider the financial aid options, particularly the Stafford loan, if you want to be eligible for the Stafford loan, you have to be enrolled in at least part-time 6 credits at a time. So if you're only taking one class here and there, you wouldn't be eligible for the Stafford loans, unfortunately. If you want to be eligible, you have to be enrolled in at least 6 credits. So, of course, a full-time student would qualify, and a part-time student with 6 credits at a time would qualify. There's a question here about, do we offer housing for graduate students? Unfortunately, we don't offer housing on the main campus for graduate students. There is a housing website. We have a housing database that we actually contracted with an outside vendor for. So it is a secure database that only our students would have access to. So you can look for housing options there. We also encourage you to look at other outside sources. In this region, with my personal experience, Craigslist seems to be the most comprehensive listing of apartments in the area. Of course, there's a grain of salt you have to take with listings on Craigslist. So take everything with a grain of salt and be safe. And if you have any questions, if it's too good to be true, or if it looks too good to be true, it likely is. So just be safe with those types of things. But we, of course, have our local newspapers. The New Haven Register has an online listing of classifieds that you can look at. And you can look at places like rent.com and some others. So there's a lot of good resources for that. If you have questions, particularly if you're coming from another area of the country, and you have questions about where to live, contact any one of us that you see on the screen, or contact our residential life office. We'll be happy to point you in the right direction. The worst thing you can do is sign a lease without ever seeing the property or not knowing what neighborhood you're in or that kind of thing. We have, here in West Haven, we're a small city, about 50,000 people. New Haven's about 100,000 people. And so New Haven's a much larger city. And like any city, there are good and bad areas to live in. So we'd be happy to give you a candid review of areas and let you know where would be a good place for you to live and where not to live. Of course, we have some very rural communities around here, so you can live in much more quiet areas. Some students want to live in the middle of it all and be able to walk to theaters and restaurants and things, so New Haven's a great option for that. Some students want to be out of the hustle and bustle. Some want to have an easy commute. Some want to be on the bus line. So there's a lot of different variables. So as you're considering housing, be sure to pick up the phone or send us an email, and we'll all be happy to sit down with you and discuss your options and give you some feedback about the different areas around here, because some students have different requests and different interests in what they want to, where they want to live, and the types of opportunities they want to have as a student here. So be sure to ask those questions from us. There is no, so graduate housing, obviously there wouldn't be a deadline because we don't have any housing available, and it's not included in your tuition. So your, unfortunately, housing would have to be secured on your own. But we're happy, again, to help you get placed. And we do have a local, we have a number of local realtors that we work with. One of them is called, his name is Hadley. I believe his first name is George. And you'll see him on our website. So if you go to our website and click Graduate Student Services, you'll see housing listings and some local realtors that we work with. Hadley actually owns several hundred properties or units around the local area. He's very easy to work with. He's great for our graduate students because he knows virtually all of our programs and how long it'll take you to study. So you'll call him up and say, I'm going to be pursuing forensic science and starting in the fall. I'd like to structure my lease around that. And he'll say, well, I know you're going to be done in April of 2015, so I'll be happy to stop your lease right then. So he even knows exactly to the month when you'd be graduating from the program, and he's very flexible on your terms. We also have some agreements or some partnerships working with Wintergreen Apartments here in Westville, which is kind of a sub-neighborhood of or suburb of New Haven. And we also have a realtor that used to be the head of economic development in West Haven that knows the city like the back of his hand and is a great resource for our students, and has reached out to our students to offer any kind of housing assistance that you would need. So we do have a lot of assistance available for you. Unfortunately, we just don't have physical housing on the campus, but we'd be happy to help you secure housing or find housing in the local community. And I've certainly taken students around. If you have an opportunity to visit campus, if you come out, I'd be happy to drive you around town, show you different areas, and show you different neighborhoods, and just give you a feel for what to expect once you move here as a graduate student. So definitely take us up on that. We, as you can probably tell as through a lot of the discussion that I've had today, we really want to personalize the experience. We understand the types of time commitment. We understand the financial commitment, and even just the mental and emotional strain of going off to get your graduate degree. So we're here to make sure that you have a successful transition, that all your questions are answered. And I'm not here to tell you every single student. I can't tell you every single student that comes to a webinar or comes to campus or asks for information from us is ultimately a student that has to come to the University of New Haven. I know that sometimes students will come to these, or they'll come to other events, or they'll read more about us and decide, well, I thought it was a place for me, but it might not be the right place for me. That's fine. I recognize as a professional in the field, and you'll find that most graduate admissions professionals are like this, that we want to make sure that you're making the right decision for you. So we want to make sure it's the right program, it's the right fit as far as the location, as far as getting you the right career that you want. So be sure, we want to make sure that all your questions are answered, that you feel comfortable in the decision whether you decide to come here or not. And so definitely utilize us as a resource. If you want to come here and sit in on a class or shadow a student or talk to a current student, I can give you contact information for one of our current students and have them call you if you'd like. You can come here and visit campus. We'll set up a whole day for you. If you need to come in on a weekend, we'll be happy to come here on a weekend. Anything you need, it's really not out of the realm of possibility. Just ask us. Anything that we can help you with, whether it be helping with housing or applying or the programs, or even just how to go to graduate school in the first place, regardless if it's here or not, give us a call. We're happy to help you with doing that. So are there any further questions that I can answer at this point? I don't see any other questions that have come in. I do see a question here about community psychology. The GRE is not required for community psychology. Certainly, if you take it and send it in, we're not discouraging you to do that. That's certainly a great thing, but you're not required to. And if you don't submit the GRE, it's not going to detract from your application. Now, if your GPA is below par or below what you'd like it to be, and you submit GRE scores, then GRE scores can generally help if your GPA is not quite where you want it to be. A personal statement is also not required for the community psychology program. Again, if you have that's a great opportunity. If you have grades, and this goes for all of our programs, if you have your grades that aren't quite where you want them to be, or if you're nervous about being admitted or things, personal statement offers an opportunity for you to maybe explain your circumstances on maybe why those grades were like that. Oftentimes we learn that students may have had personal struggles or had family issues or things that often prevented them from maybe putting their full attention toward their undergraduate studies at a given time. And so certainly knowing that information is helpful when we're reviewing an applicant's file. So we strongly encourage you to submit a personal statement, but it's not required, and again, will not detract from your application. So if you don't submit a GRE score or a personal statement for that program, we won't be looking at it and going, we have to deny the student. It won't take away from your application. It can only add to your application. Are there any further questions that I can answer at this point? I really appreciate your attentiveness. I know most of you stayed through the entire time, so thank you so much for your time. And again, if there's anything that we can do for you at all, reach out to any one of us on the screen there. It's not a problem if you pick up the phone and call us or shoot us an email. Certainly I'm open to texting if you need to do that, or you can reach out to us on social media. Anything that makes your decision process a little bit easier, we're happy to do that. So thank you again for your time. I sincerely appreciate it. I hope you have a wonderful evening, and we'll talk to you soon. We will put this webinar video online so you can follow up with it at a later time if you have any questions or you want to watch it again. All right, so thanks so much. Have a great evening, and we'll talk to you soon.